A blessed day, everyone. I'm Genevieve B. Abarisha, and I'm going to be your discussion leader for today's video. And we are going to discuss about Baucis and Philemon, also known as Abraham and Sarah. I know most of you are very familiar with the name Abraham and Sarah since you've encountered them in the story in the Bible. But now we are going to encounter a different story about Abraham and Sarah. And here are the objectives for our discussion, and I hope we were able to achieve this at the end of our discussion. First one is discuss the character portrayed by Baucis and Philemon in the mythology. Differentiate the story of Baucis and Philemon in the other context. Next one is explain the moral lessons of the story and analyze the relevance of the story of Baucis and Philemon in the current situation. And we have a quote that will integrate our minds and our heart. It is said that we don't need to have a deep pockets or be rich to help the needy, the poor, and the hungry. We need to have a heart. We need to have a heart. And if we are going to dig deeper about this quotation, we don't need to have this grand things, this wealth to help others. Because if we really want to help others, we will always find a way, even though we have lackness in our lives. And we can always extend help if we really want to. We can exert effort. We can give a small amount of money, a food, and giving requires heart. It doesn't require grand things or material things for you to give. As long as you have this generous heart, this kind heart, you'll able to give something for others. And we also have this quote that to give is to gain. I know whenever we give something to someone, we have this thinking that we will lose a part of our money or anything. But I tell you that every time we give, we tend to gain. We tend to gain happiness. We tend to gain peace of mind, fulfillment, and such. Because when you give something to other, you are gaining a deeper character. You are gaining development in yourself. That's why whenever you give, you gain. You gain something that cannot be paid off by money. I hope you always keep that in your heart. And we are going to talk about the story. We are going to the main topic. So here is the background of the story. The story is present in both in Greek Roman mythology, since the character in this story have their own Greek and Roman mythology counterpart. So it is found in book 8 of Ovid's Metamorphoses. So Ovid's book composed of a different story of mythology, and it was created to contribute knowledge for us. And next is the setting in the story is in China, also known as Phrygian Hill Country. And the story revolved around this area. Next one is the characters. So the first one is Philemon, also known as Abraham. He is a pious Phrygian man, meaning to say he is very hardworking, he is kind, he is generous, and he is a poor man. And of course, his wife is Baucis or Sarah, an aged Phrygian peasant woman. When we say peasant, they are considered to be in the low social status, and they work as a slave, somewhat related as a slave. And Jupiter, so or known as Zeus. His character in this story is known to be an adventurous god, and you will know why in the story. Next is Mercury, also known as Hermes. He is a great companion of Jupiter in this story. So I will not give details about Jupiter and Zeus character, because I know all of you are aware of the character, or the powers that they possessed with. So I'm just stating their characters based on how they acted in this story. Next one is that we are going to hear about the story. So in the hill of Phrygia, people are very amazed with a tree of an oak and a linden, which seems to be hugging each other, and it comes from a single trunk. So every time people or peasants around that area are all wondering about the story, they are very amazed with this different kind of tree that is so unusual for them. And little did they know, it has a great and beautiful story behind. So Jupiter or Zeus, whenever he is tired of eating ambrosia or drinking nectar in the Olympus, or weary of listening to Apollo's lyre and grace dances, he tend to go down to earth and disguise as a mortal with Mercury. And he purposely test people of Phrygia if they are going to be hospitable, kind, and generous. Why? Because hospitality is very important to Jupiter. Since he is the protector of all the guests that seeks for shelter and food, he tends to test people if they are going to show off a good attitude, a good character to those people who are in need. And to test, of course, he personally go down to earth and to encounter people and to see their responses. And of course, if they're going to show off as gods, people will welcome them. People will go before them and say, coming into our house. But of course, they dress as a poor wayfarers. Wayfarers are known to be travelers who are in foot, meaning to say they don't wear slippers. They seems to be poor. They seems to be pitiful also. And and Jupiter and Mercury disguise themselves as a wayfarers, and they knock every houses, big or small, asking for food, asking for place to stay in. But imagine, in 100 houses, in the 100 houses that they knocked in, no one offers a hand to help them. No one offers a home to stay with. People refuse them. People reject them. Why? Because they are wayfarers. They are strangers. And when we have this thinking that if people looks dirty, looks strange, we don't welcome them. That's why these two gods disguise themselves into a wayfarers. So imagine 100 houses and still people don't welcome them. Next one is that so they ask every houses, knock every houses, but only a little hovel with an old house seems to be poor. A house of a poor welcome them. And of course, Baucis and Philemon welcome the two wayfarers with a big smile. Imagine, they welcome them among all the big houses. Only Philemon and Baucis welcome the two wayfarer. And of course, they made food for them. The first thing that Philemon did, what was he set a fire to warm the two wayfarers, and of course, Baucis give them a blanket to cover with, and of course, the couple said to the stranger or to the wayfarer that they are poor folk. They have nothing to offer, but they are willing to help. And they say that poverty isn't that bad as long as you have this contented spirit that will help you overcome poverty, overcome this notion about being poor. And the woman cook Abraham and Sarah, or Baucis and Philemon, cook cabbage, radishes, eggs, and bacon for the two wayfarers. And the two wayfarers observe the house, and the materials in the house seems to be wary, meaning to say, indeed the couples were poor. And of course, despite of their poverty, they were able to present a wine for the two travelers, a wine that seems to be a vinegar and very diluted with water. But the most exciting part about is that the two couple was so happy to present a cheap and simple supper for the two wayfarers. They are so proud that despite of their lackness, they were able to give something to the two wayfarers. And when they started to eat, the wine, no matter how many times they pour the wine, the level of it never changes. And because the of course the two gods are playing trick with the couple. Next one is that the couple, the gods revealed their true identity. And of course, after that incident, that the couple observed that the wine is not changing its level, they were so afraid. And after that, the two gods revealed their true identity, and the two couples almost bowed to the gods, and they were so ashamed, and they were so sorry for presenting cheap supper, cheap bill for the god. So Baucis and Philemon thought that they have this goose whom they can give the god as a meal. So the two couple, despite of their age, ran after the goose, and of course the goose was so fast, and they were able to catch it. And at the end, they give up because it's beyond their ability to catch the goose. But the two gods were so happy to watch the couple catching the goose. Imagine, they have this heart to present a good meal to the two gods, and the only thing that they have was the goose, but they are willing to give it. They are willing to sacrifice it because they were amazed that the two gods the two gods are in their home. And oh wait. And after the two gods the two gods watched the two couples, and when the gods knew that the couple weren't able to catch the goose, they intercede, and they say that you have been a good host to us, and you will you will receive a reward. And after that, Abraham, Sarah, and the two gods went out of the house, and after that they were able to see sea water, lake, and a beautiful scenery. And the couple was so amazed seeing those things. And the and the God said to them that I know that the entire neighborhood despises you. They didn't treat you right, but this your neighborhood will suffer, but you will stay protected and safe. You will not suffer. And the two couples cried. They imagine how cruel the people around them. And and but after that, they were so amazed of the beauty that they have seen. So, and they see uh their house, their tiny lowly house, was changed into a beautiful temple with white marbles and golden roof. And they were so uh uh amazed of that beautiful scenery. And the god, of course, as I've said earlier, they said to the couple that, uh, I will grant anything you wish, anything you want, because you have been a good host to us. But the couple only asked for a simple thing. They asked the gods that for them to allow to guard the temple, for them to serve the gods by guarding the temple. And the other wish that they have mentioned is that for them to die together. Imagine they could have asked for grand things, for wealth, for material possession, but they didn't. They asked for the humblest things, that humblest and simple things. And after that, after that is of course, the gods fulfilled their promises, their words to the couple, and the couple served the building together for a long years. And of course, they get older and older, and they know that they have to reach death. And they face the magnificent marvel, the magnificent temple that they serve. And they fell thinking and reminiscing about their former life, on how hard it is, on how they encounter suffering, yet they feel so happy, yet they feel so content and fulfilled. And they exchange memories of the good moments they have shared. And as tears falls into their eyes, a bark was growing around them. And their last words was, farewell, dear companion. And bark started to cover them. And as those words passed, they become trees, and they were still together. The promise of God's was fulfilled. The couple died together. They never left each other. They stay together, hugging each other. That's why people in the village of in the Phrygian hill was so amazed of a tree of an oak and a linden hugging each other. And that is Abraham and Sarah. That is Baucis and Philemon. And that was a very beautiful story. It was different from the story of the story in the Bible. It is something that we can learn things. It is something that will warm our hearts. And here are the moral lessons that we could get in the story. First one is that a person who has a genuine heart will always have a reward. If you give, if you lend time, if you extend help for others, at the end of the day, you will receive blessing. You will receive good things in life. You will receive a good health. It may not be material reward, just like money, cash prize, and such. But at the end of the day, the Lord will bless you. In every good things you do, you will get a reward, not just only in this earth, but you will also get a reward in heaven. And next is that no matter what your social status is, you are always capable of helping others. Rich or poor, you are capable of helping each other. Do not use the excuse that I also have my needs. I also have my necessities. Don't use that excuse, because you can give a little, you can give anything if you really want to. If there's a will, there's a way. You can always do giving and helping other people if you really love to, and if you really want to. And next thing is giving must come from our hearts. Yes, we can give, but we can give reluctantly. But the most important thing is that we give because we want to. We give with our hearts. We give everything from our hearts. And that is the most beautiful thing, the most beautiful act of generosity. And next is that contentment makes life more beautiful. Imagine the couple, they could ask for wealth, they could ask for a son or a daughter, since in the story it was not mentioned if Abraham and Sarah have their own children, but they could ask for more, but they didn't ask for anything grand, because they knew that in simplicity there is beauty, in simplicity there is contentment, in simplicity there is fulfillment and satisfaction also. Next is that wealth and material things don't matter the most as long as you have a great companion by your side. You don't need beautiful things, extravagant things, grand things. As long as you have the person you love, you have your family, you have this special someone, special people that always backs you up, that always supports you. It is enough. It is the best treasure. It is the best gift that you can receive. And another one is true and unconditional love does exist. I know in this current times we are experiencing a lot of heartbreaks, a lot of pains, but remember, true and unconditional love does exist. You just need to pray for it. You just need to wait for it. It will come. Just like how Baucis and Philemon love each other, that kind of unconditional love and true love will make you think that someday you will have that kind of person in your life. And another thing that we can get from this story is that we must not judge from physical appearance. Imagine hundred of houses hundred of houses has been knocked by Jupiter and Hermes, by Jupiter and Mercury, but no one welcomes them. Because why? People judge from appearance. If people seems to be unpleasant and people seems to be dirty and untidy, they tend to judge it as someone who will do bad things. But if we will going to see the the inner side of the person, if we are going to look not and not base everything on the appearance, we will always end up being kind to everyone. And that's all. We must always remember that we must bless those who are poor in spirit, poor in material possession, because we know that we are capable. We must be that generous. We must be that kind. We must always extend our help, because it is a fulfillment. It is a very good act of kindness. And I hope you have learned a lot of things from these lessons. I hope we were able to achieve our objectives earlier. And I hope also that you will keep in your heart the story of Baucis and Philemon and how great their love is for each other. And yes, thank you and God bless. I hope we can see each other soon. And stay safe, everyone. God bless you all. Thank you for lending your time.